Set in Japan, the story begins by showing a Yakuza boss at his residence, which is under tight security, guarded by hundreds of bodyguards who keep watch 24 hours a day without rest. This heightened vigilance is due to rumors about a shadow organization said to be capable of killing in complete silence. Despite the heavy protection, the Yakuza boss cannot find peace, not even for a single second, and yes, the Yakuza boss was surprised when one of his men brought in a female musician who had come to entertain him. Without much thought, he immediately ordered all his guards to leave the room for a moment. However, that decision turned out to be a grave mistake because upon hearing the scream from the female musician, the guards rushed into the room. However, they were shocked to find their boss brutally murdered, his head severed. With a terrified expression, the musician pointed toward a samurai statue, the place where the assassin was hiding. Without a second thought, the guards immediately opened fire on the statue and suddenly, the assassin appeared calmly right in the middle of them all. Without the slightest hesitation, he swiftly took down the guards in a brutal and deadly manner. And this is what happened. After taking down all the low-level guards, the assassin now had to face the boss's personal aide. Amid the chaos, he accidentally shot the innocent female musician. Overwhelmed by guilt, his focus wavered, giving the aide the perfect opportunity to strike and take him down. The aide immediately removed the assassin's mask and was utterly shocked to discover that behind it was a woman. Moments later, the lights went out, not due to a power failure, but because they had been deliberately sabotaged by someone, namely yes, it turned out the assassin wasn't acting alone. She arrived with a partner who was just as skilled, if not more brutal than her. Without hesitation, the partner went on a rampage, ruthlessly eliminating the remaining guards. In a chilling climax, he removed his mask and mercilessly took down the aide. After wiping out everyone without leaving a trace, the partner, who was also a woman, quickly revived the first agent, who had only fainted. On the way home after the mission, the first agent, known as 13, admitted that she lost her focus after accidentally shooting an innocent person. The second agent, who turned out to be her mentor named Umbra, reminded her that they were both trained to have no sense of mercy. No matter what happens in the field, they must remain focused on the objective and not allow themselves to be distracted by anything unrelated to the job.
Hanya membunuh. Ingat itu 13.
Upon arriving at the airport, the mentor was assigned a new mission by the manager to go to Cambodia. Meanwhile, Agent 13 was temporarily relieved of duty. She was instructed to return to a normal life while still keeping her true identity and profession a secret. This is where Agent 13 now resides, in a rundown apartment complex on the outskirts of Jakarta, Indonesia. Each day, she takes a special pill provided by the shadow organization, medication meant to suppress the constant pain in her head. It's important to note that Agent 13 isn't the only contract killer in the organization. Many other agents are scattered across the globe, all of them stripped of their pasts and original identities. It's no surprise that Agent 13 often suffers from severe headaches, a lingering effect of the brainwashing she endured since childhood. A week had passed. Agent 13 went to an abandoned building to try to contact her organization. However, instead of receiving a new mission, the operator simply reminded her not to forget taking her daily pills and to wait until further instructions were given. As she climbed the stairs to her room, Agent 13 accidentally saw a young boy struggling to help his mother, who had collapsed from severe intoxication. Her heart stirred, and for a moment, she felt the urge to help. But she held herself back. She chose to ignore it, unwilling to get too involved in the lives of those around her. Night fell. From her apartment window, Agent 13 saw the boy and his mother, who lived alone, being approached by a group of thugs, seemingly involved in something serious. But just like before, Agent 13 chose not to intervene and decided to go to sleep. The next morning, however, shocking news spread. The mother had been found dead in a brutal condition, beaten severely. The boy was now left to live alone, with no one by his side. While Agent 13 was eating meatballs at a small food stall, a young boy named Mongji suddenly approached her and asked for her leftovers. That moment marked the beginning of their acquaintance. Mongji then began to share the story of his mother's death, which, as it turned out, was somehow connected to someone named Haga, though it remained unclear who Haga really was. Seeing the sadness that clouded Mongji's face, Agent 13 decided to cheer him up by taking him for a ride around the city on her motorcycle. Though simple, that moment was enough to bring a brief smile back to Mongji's face.
Makasih ya, Kak.
The next morning, after taking a shower, Agent 13 found a small piece of paper with a short message from Mongji that read, "Thank you." When she went to find Mongji, the house was already empty. He was no longer there. Shortly after, a man appeared, looking for her. His name was Jackie, an envoy sent by Haga. He had been ordered to search for something hidden in Mongji's house, which turned out to be drugs and a sum of money, stolen by Mongji's mother before her death. The reason behind Mongji's mother's death was finally revealed. She was killed for stealing drugs belonging to Haga, Jackie's boss. While Jackie was busy indulging in a bit of the narcotics himself, Agent 13 emerged from her hiding spot and demanded that he take her directly to Haga, one of the figures behind it all.
Di mana, Mongji? Bawa aku ke dia.
Ke siapa? Kagak.
Ayo cepat.
On the way to Haga's location, Agent 13 asked Jackie to explain who Haga really was and what he did. Without saying much, Jackie pointed to a large billboard featuring a pair of candidates running for governor and vice governor, a father and son who turned out to be the real figures behind the name Haga. The two secretly ran a drug empire and controlled several nightlife venues across Jakarta.
Polisi?
Polisi. Ini Jakarta, Neng.
Yes, it wasn't just Haga and the officials who were involved. A police chief named Prasetyo was also part of the dirty business. He was known to be a close friend of Ariel, the son of the gubernatorial candidate whose face was plastered on the campaign billboards. In a situation like this, everything felt dark and rotten, as if there was no one left in the country who could truly be trusted.
Kita kemana?
Agak. Sama kembarannya, no. Sorry ya.
Ayo cepat!
Upon arriving at Monroe's, the nightclub managed by Haga, Agent 13 was immediately brought to meet Soraya, Haga's younger sibling. Not much different from her brother, Soraya was also known for being ruthless and driven solely by money. However, upon hearing that Agent 13 had valuable information, she finally allowed him to meet Haga in person.
Nama.
Sorry ya, maaf. Bos Aga di mana ya?
Awas kalau infonya nggak penting.
Udah bayar? Udah bos, udah gua amanin tempatnya si Astri. Nggak ada lagi barang gua yang slip. Lu pakai barang gua? Kagak bos, itu emang mau gua kasih ke lu.
Dia bawa cewek kesini. Katanya buat kamu.
As Jackie went to meet Haga and left Agent 13 in the surveillance room, Agent 13 seized the opportunity to check the CCTV footage. In the recordings, he saw that Mongji had once been taken to this very place. Without wasting any time, Agent 13 took down the guards one by one, stormed into Haga's room, knocked Soraya unconscious, and challenged Haga to a one-on-one duel.
Jing, sumpah bos gua kagak tahu. Tiba-tiba muncul.
Mana Mongji?
When Soraya regained consciousness and got up from her faint, she immediately grabbed a shotgun. She aimed it at Agent 13, who was still fighting Haga, but... Yes, Haga was shot dead by his own sister. As Soraya fled to call the guards, Agent 13 ordered Jackie to also take the heavily intoxicated woman with them. But as they entered the hallway, the guards were already waiting for Agent 13. There was no turning back. Without hesitation, Agent 13 launched into action and took them all down, one by one. It didn't take long for a hitman like Agent 13 to take down Haga's henchmen. He struck them down one by one without mercy, even dragging the fight into the nightclub area. There, he crossed paths once again with Soraya, who, as it turned out, still held a grudge and wasn't ready to give up. As soon as the sound of police sirens was heard, the chaos quickly died down. Agent 13 and Jackie immediately left, with Jackie leaving the woman by the side of the road and driving away from the scene.
Mereka bakal ngira gua emang berkomplot sama lo. Udah buru gua. Sini lo.
Aku perlu bantuan kamu untuk cari Mongji.
Bukan urusan gua.
Switching over to Prasetyo, who was in the middle of interrogating a drug courier using brutal and inhumane methods. The interrogation came to an abrupt halt when he received a phone call regarding Haga's death. Without wasting a second, Prasetyo rushed to the scene, only to find his close friend lying lifeless, cold, and dead. Prasetyo immediately contacted Ariel to inform him about Haga's death. This is Ariel, the candidate for vice governor, running alongside his own father, Sumitro. Their portraits on campaign billboards show them as polite and humble, smiling with the slogan, "For the prosperity of the people." But in reality, behind that image, Ariel and Sumitro are cruel, corrupt, and inhumane figures. They are involved in numerous criminal acts, and their entire campaign is funded by the dirty business empire they have built.
Selesaikan semuanya.
Stressed by his work as a young politician, Ariel had developed a disturbing habit. He even had a private holding cell beneath his house, a dark room usually filled with women he had taken from nightclubs. But this time, Mongji was his target.
Adrenalin itu bisa ngurangin rasa sakit.
Switching over to Prasetyo, who this time wasn't wearing any police attributes and was working outside the bounds of his official duties. Along with his subordinates, who were also fellow police officers, he disguised himself to look like a criminal. They went to Jackie's residence where she was caring for her ailing grandmother. Their goal was clear: to find out who Agent 13 really was and where he could be found. Meanwhile, Agent 13 went to the abandoned building where the organization's phone was located. There, he secretly activated the emergency protocol without authorization, with the intention of obtaining a handgun. Jackie was seen at his home, taking care of his grandmother, who was seriously ill. Eventually, Prasetyo appeared with his men, coming to find out where Agent 13 was.
Gimana, Jack?
Jackie claimed he immediately parted ways after leaving the Moonrose Club. He kept assuring them that he had no connection with Agent 13, until suddenly the sound of gunshots was heard outside the house. One of Prasetyo's men was ordered to check, but yes, Agent 13 appeared on his motorcycle and began taking down Prasetyo's men one by one. A brutal showdown between the hitman and the corrupt police officers was now inevitable. After dealing with Prasetyo's men, Agent 13 approached Prasetyo, who turned out to be unable to fight back at all. Just as Agent 13 was interrogating him, Jackie suddenly ambushed Agent 13 from behind, allowing Prasetyo to escape. Quickly, Agent 13 pursued Prasetyo all the way to Ariel's residence, a luxurious mansion built from corruption. As Agent 13 infiltrated and began sweeping the place, Ariel suddenly appeared from the side, catching him off guard. And this is what happened next. Prasetyo, still consumed by anger, was about to finish off Agent 13, but was stopped by Ariel, who wanted to inform his father first. As Prasetyo whispered something into Agent 13's ear, suddenly, yes, Prasetyo was killed by Agent 13. Witnessing the incident, Ariel immediately struck Agent 13 with a baseball bat, knocking him unconscious, and took him to the detention room beneath the house. For a moment, let's leave the chaos in Jakarta behind and shift to the jungles of Cambodia, where Mentor Umbra is on a mission to hunt down his target. Just as he finds himself in danger, another agent suddenly appears and attacks the enemy, crushing his head without hesitation. His name was Troika, another assassin agent sent to accompany Mentor Umbra on his mission. They continued walking through the forest until they finally found a hut where the target was hiding. Troika then instructed the mentor to go in alone, while he stayed outside to deal with the enemies standing guard. Yes, whoever their target really is remains unknown, but judging by the way they fight, it's clear the target is someone highly trained. A fight was now inevitable. When the target was finally taken down, Mentor Umbra was quite shocked to realize that it was actually his former protege, a contract killer who had previously been declared a traitor. Eventually, the reason behind her and several other agents' defection was revealed. They had discovered the truth about the Shadow Organization, which was merely exploiting highly trained individuals like themselves for the benefit of a select group. The agent confessed that she simply wanted to live a normal life. In fact, she was now pregnant with her first child.
We are shadows.
Umbra, wake up! We are flesh and blood.
We have a chance to be more than this. No.
Unable to bring himself to kill his former protege, Mentor Umbra stood in silence as the agent attempted to escape. But at the doorway stood Troika, waiting, and without hesitation, he ruthlessly eliminated the agent. On the way back, Troika reported to the manager about the hesitation shown by Mentor Umbra in carrying out his mission to kill. Not only that, the manager also showed photos of the chaos in Jakarta, all caused by Agent 13. As a result, Mentor Umbra now has to take responsibility for the actions of his protege. Back to Agent 13, who is being held captive in the basement, still wearing his signature mask. Ariel tortures Agent 13 with intense anger. Just as Ariel is about to finish him off, suddenly... Yes. Father appeared and immediately scolded Ariel for his incompetence, which led to the deaths of Haga and Prasetyo. With the fact that they still needed a large sum for the campaign, the drug transaction with someone named Kabil had to continue. Father saw great potential in Agent 13. If he could take down dozens of police officers and Haga's men alone, it would not be difficult for Agent 13 to face Kabil and his forces. That way, during the transaction, they could get both the money and the goods, which would remain theirs.
Beberapa orang kita mati. Dia bisa berguna buat kita. Besok transaksi sama si Kabil. Saya orangnya adil. Kamu mau anak itu, saya mau jasa kamu. Tapi kan, masa anak gubernur kayaknya sih.
Not long after Father left, they brought in Jackie and Mongji, who were in a severely beaten condition, their faces almost unrecognizable. Agent 13 could only be patient and hold back his anger, waiting for the right moment to strike back.
Besok kita makan bakso lagi.
In short, the night of the transaction arrived, with Mongji and Jackie in tow. Agent 13 was forced to step forward and carry the bag containing the goods. After the money was in Ariel's hands and the goods were taken by Kabil, Jackie, who was in the car with Ariel's father, saw Mongji in a critical condition, and he ultimately died right there. With no reason left for Agent 13 to obey the father's orders, Jackie immediately rebelled and shouted, informing Agent 13 about Mongji's death.
Mongji mati! Mongji mati! Mongji mati!
Realizing that the father and Ariel were about to betray the deal, Kabil immediately deployed his men to open fire. And this is what happened next. Yes, the father was killed by Kabil's forces. Witnessing this, Ariel immediately grabbed a weapon and started shooting wildly at everyone around him. After taking down the soldiers, Ariel jumped onto the car and put on his signature mask. Fueled by rage, he took out Kabil while shouting out for Agent 13. Yes, Soraya was killed by being run over by Agent 13, and immediately after that, Ariel and his troops swiftly moved to hunt down Agent 13. Now, only Ariel and Agent 13 remain. With killing skills honed over years of deadly missions, it was clear that Ariel, a young politician with no combat abilities, stood no chance. And so, he met a gruesome end at the hands of Agent 13. After everything was over, Agent 13, Jackie, and Mongji, who had already died, left the place in a damaged car. Until eventually... Yes, this is where they both are now, captured by the manager and mentor Umbra, who is preparing to execute Agent 13 for violating protocol. However, just as mentor Umbra is about to do it, Jackie suddenly pushes him from behind and... Yes, Jackie was shot dead by the manager, while Troika was dispatched to pursue Agent 13. Thus, the battle between Agent 13 and Troika, two shadow agents, was inevitable. It didn't take long for Agent 13 to take down Troika. Mentor Umbra eventually stepped in to confront him. Inside the stationary aircraft cabin, the two engaged in a fierce and brutal fight, until this is what happened. After being caught in the explosion, Mentor Umbra rose once again, determined to finish off Agent 13. At the same time, the manager appeared, relentlessly pressuring him to carry out the task. But what happened next? After the manager was killed and Mentor Umbra lay dying, Agent 13 was finally told his real name, which was...
Nomi mau, Nomi.
Yes, it turns out that Mentor Umbra is the biological mother of Agent 13, also known as Nomi, who had been raised and trained from a young age to become an assassin. What the pregnant female agent in the Cambodian jungle once said was true. The shadow organization only used all of them, the agents, to carry out orders, without ever allowing them to return to a normal life. In the final scene, we see Agent 13, also known as Nomi, burying her mother and Mongji at a quiet cemetery. Suddenly, a squad of shadow agents appears. Among them is a rookie known as Agent 14. If he manages to kill Nomi, his rank will rise, and he will take her place as Agent 13. But... Yes, someone wearing a helmet appeared and wiped out Agent 14's squad using only a grenade, ready to detonate it at any moment. In the end, Agent 14 was forced to retreat and decided to pick another day to finish off the two of them.
Dia baru permulaan. Mereka semua akan datang untukmu.
Alright.
Yes, he is Master Bure, a senior agent and also the mentor of Nomi's mother. Like other rogue agents who have discovered the corruption within the Shadow organization, Master Bure invites Nomi to join forces. And now, the real adrenaline rush is about to begin. Finished. The moral lesson we can learn from Ariel and Soemitro is that the worst kind of person is someone who is two-faced, showing one attitude in one place and a different one elsewhere. Remember, it is better to be hated for being yourself than to be loved for being good at putting on a false face. I'm Wing, and I'd like to thank you for watching. Thank you.